me again with my favorite person, Jamie.
I'm not the favorite. I'm glad you're my favorite, Lucian.
Wine guy. Am I your favorite?
I'm here for the interruptions.
And now I can see that. Very cool. At the tender age of 6 years old, the man found his voice. He became a singer chief back then. And now he's a full-fledged singer with an album called Evolve. I mean, I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, and the one in church that brings us the praise and the worship.
What an introduction!
Yay! That was off the cuff. I didn't study that.
Listen, you're good.
Thank you,
You're so
friend.
good. But I've always known that you're good. Just like it's so cool to see like in person. But I also must say, when was I the singer chi? Like I've always been the big guy.
That's tiny.
I get you.
But thank you for joining us right here on Reality Bites. And Jamie is our guest co-host, and I think he's doing such a phenomenal job. I have him ask the first question.
Yes, because I'm so interested in hearing more about you, Anslin. We've been seeing you on TV, we see you at events, but we don't really know where Anslin comes from. What's the journey of Anslin? That's that 6-year-old Kleintjie Anslin that I'm sure is the singer. Tell us the journey.
Cool. Firstly, thank you for having me. I've been following the journey, and you guys are doing absolutely amazing work. And
thank you.
Big ups to you guys, and welcome to Jamie as the guest host today. Also follow your journey, and I think you're incredible. My journey, it started at a very young age, like you said, 6 years old. I grew up in a little town, mission station called Klipfontein Mission Station out in Philippi, very close to Delft, Mitchell's Plain. And that's where I grew up with my grandmother and her mother and her sibling. En ons het groot geword in 'n sinkhuis, you know. We didn't have much, but we had enough. We didn't have wealth, but we had love. We didn't have, the opportunities, but we had the courage to pursue more than what the naked eye could see. And I think that was always the driving force behind why I wanted success, not success so badly, but why I wanted to change my narrative so badly. And I always had music to hold on to. And I remember as a little kid, we had all these big tires because my uncle had like a tire shop, right? And so I would position the tires like in a drum set type of setup because I've seen it in church and I've seen it on television. And I would like sing praise and worship and make a noise, and everybody would just tolerate me. And little did I know that would one day become my destiny, and it would one day be the stepping stones to where I find myself today on the big stages and on the stadiums, and sharing the stages with incredible people. And I thank God for that seed that He planted at that time, for me to sort of grow into who I am today. But the journey is anything and everything but linear. I grew up in the church, I fellowshiped in the church, I got hurt in the church, but I never left God, and I think that's the one thing that kept me. And I went to school outside of Philippi. I went to Mandalay Primary School where I danced. I loved dancing, and I was never the singer at primary school,
Okay.
I then went to high school where I left the dancing, was then the singer, went to university, studied, I have a background in linguistics, I have a postgrad background in human resources, another postgrad background in payroll. And taxation.
Academic, no.
And that study bag has not left me. I am currently enrolled for my honors in strategic finance and business informatics. And I'm a nerd. I'm a human resources professional today. I'm a singer,
Where
songwriter.
do you find the time?
The same thing.
The list goes on. Apparently, I'm an influencer, a social media personality. I also pastor the worship ministry at City Harvest Church. And so my life spectrum has broadened, and I think I'm very blessed, and I'm one of those people who can say with my whole heart that I love everything that I do, and nothing is a burden to me. And so therefore I pursue and take on everything with the same energy and the same passion, because it literally brings me so much joy. Yeah.
But it's good to know that you're doing so many other fascinating things, like human resourcing. I didn't know that. Linguistics, and I was studying again financing. But we all know you as the singer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize at a young age that this is their future. Or something that they love. and you found out at 6 years old, making, like you said, tires, and
Yeah.
an auditorium, and drums, and little tin cans that are ripped on, doing little instruments.
Yeah.
So, your singing journey, so after all the studying and stuff, you were singing backing vocals for known artists like Jimmy Neves and many others.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I think I've always wanted to sing, and it all goes down to people recognizing us, in the industry. I remember as a young boy, I attended a show at the Baxter Theatre, where one of my idols was performing at, and I approached her after the show and I said, "Listen, Karen, can I please sing for you?" And I remember that moment in my life where I literally put myself out there, and I was always hungry for the opportunity. I was always hungry for the growth and the experience to grow. And she said to me, and even though nothing may have come from it in that moment, just for her to say to me, "Oh, that was so beautiful, that was so refreshing to hear." That was the little bit of inspiration and hope that I got to cling on to for the next part of my journey in the industry. And obviously people talk and people listen.
Yeah.
And eventually people started booking me for BVs, and got to work with some incredible people, people that we all love, and no experience for me was a bad one. If there were not so happy experiences, it was there for a reason to propel me to handle experiences better in the future.
You learn from it.
Absolutely. And I think this industry, as a backing vocalist, it has taught me so much. And somebody asked me the other day, why did you stay in that space for so long? And I said, a lot of people think about it as a burden. A lot of people think about it as, I started as a backing vocalist, so the next thing I must be a solo artist, and that's going to be like the full circle moment in my career. It was never that for me. I did it because I loved it. I did it because it was something that I was passionate about, and I enjoyed pouring myself into other people's work, and I loved hearing people sound good because of the contributions that I make on stage. So it was never a prison for me. It was never a prison cell for me. It was always a catalyst for me to ensure that other people are also being great.
Then I want to ask, so then if backing vocals and loving it was so good for you, what then made you switch? Is it the pressure? Because I know I've been wanting you to be on the forefront, and I'm sure you have a whole lot of people that have been hearing you and wanting you to sing. So what made you switch?
One of them.
I'm a very firm believer in seasons. There's a song by Madison Ryan that says, they're going to come, they're going to go, you might grow fast, you might grow slow, might be weary, something, but seasons always change.
Yeah.
And I believe that when the time is right, things will happen for you. I'm a very, very firm believer in that thing. I've seen how people prematurely step into spaces that they were not ready for. And so when people ask me why did it take me so long, it was because I was in my incubation period. I look at my life as a little baby that was conceived, and then the baby had to be nurtured, or the baby had to grow inside the womb, then the baby is delivered, then the baby has to go through the different stages in order to evolve into the being and the human being that the baby is supposed to be. And so when people's expectation for me was to walk, it was still my time to crawl. And it's okay. People must understand in this dispensation, it is okay to take your time to acquire the skills in the spaces that you need to learn what you need to in that season and in that space, to pick up the trends, to make the mistakes and to learn from people's mistakes, so that when it is your time to progress to the next season of your life, that you are equipped with all the skills and all the tools and all the know-hows on how to navigate through that season of your life. So I never look at it as why didn't it happen for me in that time? It didn't happen in that time because it wasn't supposed to happen in that time. Yes, the atmosphere might have been ready for me to have become a solo artist after The Voice, but I wasn't ready. I didn't have the know-how. I didn't know how to navigate corporate events. I didn't know what a rate card was, There were certain things that I needed to learn. And so the spaces that I found myself in were the spaces that equipped me with the knowledge and the sense of intentionality to pursue the solo career when the time was right. And I think when the season came along, I could step into it very freely and sort of unhindered, because I knew that this was where I was supposed to be at the time. And so when all the opportunities and everything that flooded me after that, when I made the transition, when all of that hit me, when it was overwhelming for everybody else, it wasn't for me, because I anticipated that when my time came, that I would be ready to step into that space.
How did you learn? You're so profound in what you're doing, and I see a lot of artists that want that success. They run and try to fly before they can even crawl. Everything you say now, where did you learn that? What gave you that mindset?
I think it stems from a place of not being born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I think when you grow up with nothing, you sort of learn to appreciate the fact that you have nothing, and so when you eventually get something, you treat that with so much respect and so much dignity. And there's just a different sense of engagement with opportunity and success. When that was never your portion, when it wasn't your sit and your stand. And so I take every opportunity as something that has the potential to become the next best thing. I never look at something and be like, ugh, I'm not gonna dress up for that thing because it's not that big. I'm not gonna give it my all because it's not gonna bring me so much money. I never do that. I give you the same energy. I give you the same passion, whether the gig pays me 5,000 rand or whether it pays me 50,000 rand. You're going to get all of me all the time. And I think once we understand the importance of what we do and the impact that it has, we are able to navigate through these things much easily and with more grace and poise. And so people think like I might sound like I have everything figured out, but I think that's just the proficiency in language that speaks. But I grapple with a lot of things. I grapple with a lot of things daily. I have insecurities. I struggle to sometimes feel worthy in a space. I go through a lot of the things that everybody else goes through. How I handle it is different.
Yes.
I think a lot of people run to social media and they vent and they speak to their friends about it and they confess it with their mouths and so that becomes the sort of atmosphere and ambience around them. You know, when I go through something that is taxing on my mental health or I pray myself through it because I know what it feels like to not have hope to cling on to. You know. And so now that I know that source, I fight my battles differently. Some people fight on social media, some people fight in person. I choose to consecrate my mouth and not have an answer for everything, because I think there was a season where technically I thought I'd lost everything. You know, I'd lost friends, I'd lost relationships, opportunities, and it was a dark, very dark season of my life. And when everything came crumbling down, everybody expected me to sort of clap back and, reveal the truth and speak my side of the story. And weirdly, I was then convicted in such a way where the Holy Spirit said to me, consecrate your mouth. Don't have an answer for everything. You don't have to tell your side of the story. Let me be your vindicator. I will fight on your behalf. Trust me. Let me show you who I am to you. And I was like, this is annoying because I can cover up for myself. Like I can literally speak for myself. And I think the obedience to consecration and the obedience to not defend something that is not worth defending helped me experience the goodness of God and everything that He had intended for me in that season. And ever since that time, I've only received love. I've only received opportunities. I've only received breakthroughs. I've only pushed boundaries. And I'm so happy for the seasons that I've gone through, because it made me understand the cost of contribution in that space. It made me understand the cost of the sacrifices that I've made all these years, so that I could now live in the abundance of everything that I trusted God for.
Nice.
That's such a beautiful soul-to-soul moment, because, like you said, you try to navigate all of that and listen to and be obedient to the voice of God. Because you could have easily be like, this is my side of the story, done, and leave it there. But then you would have been part of that toxic cycle of continuation of bad mouth, bullying, and all of that stuff, and you're not part of that. So with that said, How do you see friendships now, gone through that period in your time?
Look, I must start off by saying there is no perfect friendship. There is no perfect friendship. There is no blueprint to navigate friendships successfully. There is no how to guide or manual to people. And sometimes I used to have this friend who used to say, "Are you willing to people today?" And I'm like, "Nah, I can't people today." and
all go through that.
Listen, some more than others. But to be quite honest with you, there is no go-to guide or blueprint in terms of how to navigate through friendships. What I do know now is that I'm much more intentional about my pursuit of friendship. I'm much more wary about my surroundings. I've learned to still be the open-hearted and the warm, and that I don't want my experiences to change how I engage other people and how I love other people. I'm a people's person. I sometimes want to run and hide from them, but I need them. I need people to not only sustain the way I do things or the way I live, but I think I need people just to cling on to life a bit. But in terms of managing and navigating friendships now, like I said, I'm much more intentional about my pursuit of friendship. I show up when I need to show up, and I stay away when I need to stay away. The moment I feel like I'm in somebody's space for too long, and I can see, hey, shaky girl.
Shaky girl.
I retrieve and sort of remove myself from the situation, not withholding the love, not withholding the support, but I think I've learned that not too much of a good thing is always a good thing, and it's okay for us not to speak every day. It's okay for us not to see each other every weekend. It's okay for us not to attend everything with each other. It's okay.
It's very much okay.
It's very much okay. It's okay for you to also go to things alone, you know, and I think from coming from a space where I was always surrounded by a lot of people, it sort of gives you like a shock of your life when you are not in that space where there's always a crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
But now friendship for me is something very sacred, and I'm not always a good friend. I'm not always the best friend. I make mistakes.
You're human.
Yeah, I human sometimes.
You're human sometimes.
A lot of people think that I must have the answers to everything and I must know how to deal with a lot of things, but I don't. I make mistakes. I'm stupid. I slip up. I sometimes speak out of turn. I sometimes mention something that I should have mentioned. I sometimes speak about stuff that you might have spoken to me in confidence about. And that's not because I'm malicious in any way. It's because we are human. None of us are exempt from making a mistake,
Yeah.
you know. And so my stance is always or now at least, is to acknowledge my part in any wrongdoing, to acknowledge my part in or the contribution that I've made to a failure or the success of a friendship, and to say, listen, we are adults, this is where we are, is what we have great enough to endure this and to navigate through it, or are we just going to call it quits? And that's also fine. It's okay when we fall out of love and we fall out of friendship with people. It's fine. I don't think that we must be in a position where we feel like we need to remain hostages in spaces that no longer
make us grow.
Yeah, and so I have no bad feelings towards anyone. I pray for everybody. I wish them the best. I pray that their careers flourish and that they get everything that must come to them, you know. And yeah, friendship is
I love this.
a hectic thing.
What I see, Anslin, just by listening to you, is complete self-awareness. If I listen to your journey, if I listen to where you are and how you deal with things, you first have to understand who you are.
Yeah.
And you first have to understand what you can do and what you enjoy and where you want to be. And that in itself is such a big step, and that's growth. There's people, myself included, I still need to get there. And I think I can look at you with inspiration to say, I want to have that Anslin level of self-awareness.
But can that be in a textbook?
Speaking of textbook, what I also want is, how do I get that level of Anslin time management? Because you have to deal with relationships, you have to deal with your career, you're studying, you're also working.
Yeah.
how are you navigating between all those spaces? Because where do you even find the time?
I don't have time. It looks like I have my ducks in a row, my T's crossed, my I's dotted. I don't. My simple answer is I have a list of things that must get done. The list doesn't ask questions. The list doesn't care. The list wants to get done. I manage to get to most of my things daily. I don't get to all of them. And I think I'm sometimes very hard on myself because I feel like I want to do the best at everything. I want to make everybody happy. And this is a little demon sitting on my shoulders saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. But that's just my personality.
Can I also ask why you're doing everything? Because I'm going to say this because you're so good with your music, but you also have a full-time job and you're studying. Whereas, what's the reason for doing both?
I never wanted to be a singer, firstly. I never wanted to be, that was never the career dream for me. I've always wanted to be a professional. I didn't know in what. I thought I would be a teacher, and after like a year of teaching, I was like, not going to do it for me. So I think my entire journey was about discovering what works for me. I think I grew up in a space or in a dispensation where you had to become a nurse, or you had to become a teacher, you had to become a doctor, and that was what you're going to do. Because van mama het vir 40 jaar by anti-dinges hulle gewerk, so that's what you are going to do, and that's the footsteps you are going to follow in. I say, screw that. I say, gone are the days where we have to be one-dimensional in our approach to life. If you have the means and the ability to be 5 things, then why not? If you have the tenacity to push through and navigate your way through all of those things comfortably, why not? If you have the talents and the skill to pursue more than one dream, then why not? I grew up in a time where people accepted their fate of not being anything and not amounting to anything. That's not going to be the story I'm going to tell. I'm not going to always tell the poverty story, because that's not the story that made me. That's not the story that established the brand. That's not the story that sort of birthed this person that people are now looking up to. That's not who I want to be and how I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered as the young man who saw himself stand up and stand out above everything and pursue everything that he wanted to. And so I don't mind waking up at 7 o'clock, which is a lie, because I don't wake up at 7 o'clock. I am asleep.
No, we
I don't mind waking up early in the morning to go to work. I don't look at my alarm and be like, oh my gosh, I must go back to that place. I love going to that place because for 8 hours of the day, I get to engage people and solve their tax problems. Like today, I had someone walk into the office and saying, listen, there's something wrong with this thing. And I'm like, don't worry, let me fix it for you.
So now I know where to come to my taxes.
Listen, I mean, and so they first get overwhelmed because like, how do you know how to work with tax? Because you didn't sing. And so I enjoy the contributions that I make in the different spaces. I love coming home and spending time with whoever at home and then going to a rehearsal. I enjoy coming home tired because I get to wake up tomorrow because I get to go to an office and do my job again. Then I get to be off the next day because I can fly somewhere to go and sing. Oh, I need to come and sit here and do this podcast with you guys, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And so when you have the opportunity to do all that you want to do, why not?
Yeah, like you say now, you don't box me in something that was back in the day, where our forefathers...
Absolutely.
We can be 5 things, because now talk about 5 things and being multiple faceted in every aspect you can grab on. Social media recently, like people going viral, like you can't be a DJ, you can't be this because you are this, you are that. No, you can be everything you want to be and put your mind to.
Absolutely.
And talk about social media, you're also being a very much sensation on TikTok and going viral in videos.
Also a comedian on TikTok.
Hilarious.
There was one clip that replays in my head when I see someone cute, where you say, "Druk wie vas?" And you say it with so much conviction.
Sometimes we go through much in this life. Sometimes gaan mense die baie dan sê, "Yo man, wanneer ook kan ek ookie met my druk toe in die sandskopie, when am I going to be licking cones?" So weet van hulle die cones so teen mekaar you lick mine.
A soul moment.
A soul moment, soul to soul.
Soul to soul.
Come on.
But also the way you like so on social media, the way you little nuances that you use, I love for those.
Thank you so much,
It's
man.
so funny, especially when you wake up in the morning with your, winter and then this Anslin being crazy, being Anslin, and story time.
Listen, I must tell you, people think that that is staged. It is not staged. My teeth are unbrushed at that time. I've just removed the little things from the corners of my eyes. The corner boys, yo.
We know.
Om te dink ek kon 'n corner boy gewees het vandag.
Jacona.
What say?
But yeah, I don't like that for you.
Listen, and so that is very much who I am in the morning when I wake up. I love social media because it has given me the ability to let people into a certain space in my life, and the downside to this is that people think that they know you because you've let them in. There's a big difference because from who we are on social media, I portray the real me, which is 100% me. I mean, you guys who know me personally would know that who I am on camera is who I am off camera.
Always lovable. I like your hands. You get the best hands.
No, for sure.
And so people think that is the full, compass of who I am. And we choose what we want to share with you. We choose the portions of ourselves that we want to share with you, because when the lights are off and when the cameras are off, we still want to maintain that sort of sense of self. I hate it when I walk into spaces where my friends are and they make a fuss about me, because that's the one space where I can just breathe.
Let your head down.
Because and right now I'm dying in these Spanx because I want it to look aesthetically good. But when the cameras are off, I can remove the Spanx and be like, you know what I mean?
These Spanx too. You should get one too.
I need to keep this back. I pull it in the whole time.
But social media is a powerful thing, and I've learned the power of social media, and I thank God that I also learned the weight of social media and the fact that we have the ability to steer the ship in the direction that we want it to go. For the longest time, I've been navigating through an uncertain brand. When people go to my TikTok, you don't know if I'm a comedian, you don't know if I'm a pastor, you don't know if I'm a singer, you don't know if I'm a dancer, and so I've been struggling with navigating through that, because I didn't know what people wanted, because they were also not giving me inconsistent numbers. They were giving me 100,000s, 200,000s, and so I in that avenue I've also decided, listen, I'm not going to make jokes 100% of the time. Sometimes somebody wants to laugh, but sometimes somebody needs to know that Jesus loves them. Sometimes you need to hear a song that is going to uplift your spirit for the next 2 months, and then you're also going to need a moment where somebody just needs to give you a reality check, So it's been a very interesting space, and I love the opportunities that social media has given me. It's given me sort of a new lease on life in terms of engaging with people through a different format, through a different
voice.
Yeah, and I think that's a very powerful thing. I mean, when there's social injustice, people sort of expect social media personalities to voice their opinions about it, and I also thank God for the discretion I have when it comes to these type of things, because every topic doesn't warrant a response. Every incident in the media also is it's okay for you also not to comment. It's fine not to engage the content. When there's beef on social media, it's fine not to join the party. Position yourself in a way that people want to be associated with you. People want to work with you. People feel like they can breathe around you. People feel like every time you walk into a room, there's a sense of lightness in the room. I always think about, if I leave the room today, what fragrance am I leaving behind?
Oh, you smell lekker. You came in here to the whole place was like lekker.
I thought it was me though, but I think Anslin.
And so that's very important to me. And not that I care what people think about me, but I always just want to know that the energy and the ambience that I've left behind and the residue that remains in the room is something that can uplift and can inspire and can. I just want people to be like, thank you, you know?
But like you just said now, people want, like you have a voice on social media, and people, for example, something happening in the world. There's many things happening in the world, and the viewers that watch you, they want you to have a voice for that. That's difficult because, like you said, not everything requires an answer or a reaction or a voice too. But you, as the viewer, looking at an influencer or anybody that you look up to or that you find fascinating on social media, you also have a voice. You have the platform too. Do not just put the pressure on that personality because they got big numbers. Your small number can reach millions of people too. You know what I'm saying? So less pressure, but also use your own voice too, because we're all in the same boat, in the same situation, and we all navigate our own struggles as well. So I applaud you for that, because at the end of the day, it's not just, okay, I'm going to wake up and make a video. No. And I have 10 million views. But that is the hard part of social media. Has anything been negative in a point where you're like, I'm going to step back from social media?
Not really. There's obviously been like negative comments and people have made some hate videos and stuff like that because of their own feelings and whatever. But it's never pushed me to the point where I felt like, I'm done with this now. If I see somebody's negative comment, I delete it. That's what I do. I don't entertain it. There are times where I feel like, okay, cool, this has now been 5 negative comments in the last 3 months. I am going to address the one so that the next 5 people for the next 6 months know that this is not it. I'm not the one. You are not the gal.
Don't give them the power.
Yeah, and so I very seldomly address these negative comments and things like that. But it has never defined me or pushed me to the point where I feel like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm very intentional about what I put out on social media. I'm always not intentional only about the things that I say and the things that I do on social media, but I'm also very intentional about what's going to happen at the receiving end of that message. Is it going to build somebody's character? Is it going to inspire them to be better? Is it going to give them some sort of hope for the next season of their life? Is it going to make them laugh because people are going through the most in this world? And so social media is a two-way thing. It's about creation and the reception thereof. And I'm always very cognizant and conscious about both ends of the spectrum. So yeah, it's a tricky thing, but everybody has the ability to do it. It's a matter of timing and season and destiny, I think.
Destiny it is. So what's next for Anslin? Still in church, still worshipping?
Love church will never leave. I'm very unapologetic about it. It is who I am. It's who I'll always be. I think in my new role as a worship pastor at City Harvest Church, I've sort of grown into a much more softer, more subtle. I mean, you guys don't see me ras the way I used to ras. And I think this has happened very naturally. And I mean, it's not changed who I am. It's not changed.
You're still the same person.
Yeah, I'm still the same. I'm just...
No, dear, really fine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I love that, so I'll still be doing that for a very long time. And I love doing it. I love God's people. I love engaging them. But the biggest thing for me on the horizon right now is the launch of my solo debut album. Called Evolve.
Yes.
So I'm very excited about my debut album, Evolve. It launched on the 14th of July and it's available on digital platforms. You can stream it everywhere. You can buy it on iTunes. And yeah, it's an offering of transformative music. It's an album of stories of encounter, and I think there's a song for everybody on there. I think every song written on that album speaks about an experience that we've had as people and human being, and not necessarily as church people or people who know God, but everybody within a circle of finding him, pursuing him, leaving him, retracing their steps to him. It's literally, when people ask me what it's about, I tell them it's about a full circle encounter with God. There's a song for you if you've been at your lowest. There's a song for you if you've you're on your height of your relationship with him. There's a song for you when you've left him and deserted him, so that you can just once again hear how he loves you and how he will always pursue you. And so I think it's an album that's very close to my heart, and I'm very proud of it. And I can't wait for it to bless the world.
Anslin is just giving the people what they want. Yes.
I'm here for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Inspiration you are.
Thank
And
you so
like you said, the album's called Evolve. I loved your evolution.
Thank you so much.
From the Anslin I know from back then to the one now.
Yeah.
And you've come, like you said, full circle.
Thank you so much.
I'm content.
Very, very much.
Thank you. Making time for us in your busy schedule.
Yes. Sure. Doing everything at once, but you also helping us evolve. Add that to your list also. Of things
Yes,
you're doing for us.
sir. Thank you so much.
All right, Bites, there you have it. You heard the man himself. Evolve. You can find it on all digital platforms. And don't forget, be your own voice. Out from the background and into the light.
Yeah.
Because you never know when it's your time to shine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to comment. Every Thursday, 8 o'clock, right here on YouTube. This is Reality Bites Podcast essay from myself, Lucian Albertine.
And Jamie Thurston, my God.
And Anslin Gysman.
Good night and God bless, guys.